Hello and welcome to this pick a card reading. This is for the week of January 26th of 2020. And what I'm finding with my readings, those who have followed me for a while know that I took a long break. I really haven't been posting regular videos since probably about March of 2019. And I just have felt a different kind of integration of the types of messages that want to come through. And more I find that whatever happens in my own experience during the week previous to a reading, whether that's for a customized reading for one of my clients or for these weekly pick a card readings, it applies. It's as if I'm walking the talk, if you will. You know, I'm actually being summoned to try out some thoughts and ideas, and sometimes I fall flat on my face, and other times I gain some gems out of it, and I feel like that is what is driving the intent of these readings. So something that has recently surfaced is doing kind of a meditative but also very directed energy work in the morning when I wake up, and energy work that is for the benefit of the planet. It's not even for me personally, it's for all of us. It puts no person above another, and it really looks at the human collective and what's needed. And for me, what's coming up is color. Color is playing a very vivid role in how these energy transmissions go. So this morning, I felt this energy of blue rivers, and they were in a variety of blue colors, mostly like a royal blue, that kind of electric blue that's got a lot of, I don't know, like excited vibration to it, as well as a deep and I want to say authentic, but I mean kind of a deeper, sovereign navy blue energy. Those two colors in particular were weaving. All that energy was weaving at like rivers through the planet. And the message that I was getting is this is to allow us to be peaceful, F-U-L-L. Spirit loves to play with words. So I got a very strong vibe on that this morning and the feel of it. And in addition, this week on Sunday, the 26th, it will be a 4 energy week for us when you add up all the digits of the date. And that has to do with finding our stability. And I feel like we're going to be revisiting this over and over again this year. These are going to become faster cycles. The numerological cycle from 1 to 9 is going to play out even faster, and we're going to find ourselves at different stages of that cycle frequently. And I just have this sensation that we're going to particularly need to find our stability personally over and over again, because we really can't look to the outside world for it right now. In fact, if you try to pay attention to the outside world, and I mean like media or on social media, you find more of this inflammation kind of energy that is wanting to amplify what's going on, whether it's with the royal family or with politics or, you know, the upcoming voting season, all kinds of things. I'm seeing just this amping up of taking stories and blowing them wide open, and lots of tragedy, and it feels more, I don't know, kind of like a caricature almost. It feels like it's being blown out of proportion. So I'm just really encouraging anybody who's listening to this message to please try to find your stability within yourself. You certainly can stay informed if you wish and look at, newspapers and social media and the media on TV or radio. Of course, if you want to be informed and feel that's important, you do what feels best for you, of course. But at the end of the day, your source of peaceful, F-U-L-L-ness, is going to start coming from here, because things are about to get kind of wonky, and the energy is just not going to be reliable. One day you might, in a relationship, whether it's somebody at work or friend, lover, family, you may be at this place one day, and then the next day it just like skyrockets and goes off the charts into a place you never thought you would get to. All of that kind of behavior that's occurring, even within yourself. Notice if you get amped up and have a blow up kind of a moment, or you feel really, really drawn to go way inside and pull way back. Notice your own behavior patterns, your own emotional patterns as well. And what mentally is going through your mind as you make choices on how you act or don't act, what you say, what you don't say, how you participate in life. It's time for us to step up and own the responsibility that we each have for our contribution to life. You are here to interact with other people on many levels, and it might only be for a time. Some of these relationships do not last a lifetime. It could be one day that you have some kind of an interaction with someone. But just notice these patterns, and I guarantee you're going to see this peaking and dipping, and maybe there'll be some times where it rolls a little bit easier, but largely we might be seeing a lot of peaks and valleys. And that's why I'm saying these readings that I'm doing are trying to get us to invite all of us, and myself most assuredly. I'm not saying that I personally have all the answers here. This is information that I just get when I'm sleeping, or when I wake up, or when I do these energy work sessions. And through my experience and tapping in with my team, it's information coming in all those ways to me. And I'm trying my best to bucketize it and to share it as rapidly as I can, just as food for thought. That's all I'm offering here. And so that you find, for you specifically watching this video, you find your own personal steady. Even if it takes a little portion of something that I've said, the best is when you take that and you morph it into what works for you. And if you take something and then you try it in your life, notice just what happens. And then if you tweak it, that's even better. You have to make it your own. So I'm not saying I'm offering solutions out of the box here by any means. I would never be that. It feels pompous to me to actually proclaim that would ever be the case. And my life is a living testament to bumping around and, trying these things as well, and getting angry and frustrated and having anxiety and fear and worry and be sad or be happy, all the gamut here. But we have a responsibility as human beings to ourselves and to the experience that we chose when we came here, to be a part of life, to engage with life, to engage with other people, and to look at these peaks and valleys that are going to show up, or they may already be showing up for you. And what you're trying to find is, how can I keep my steady within somehow? How can I find a place of peacefulness when I'm going through that, when I'm going through these severe ups and downs? Because we just can't count on that anything is going to necessarily remain in place as it is, and that we're all good and we're just kind of sailing along. I'm not getting that energy for 2020. I'm getting that this is a big shift. And part of that shift is into your personal responsibility to have a look at, how am I flying off the handle, or how am I immediately dipping into fear and worry? And what could I try to bring a feeling of ease and this peacefulness to myself? So that's where my messages, I feel, are going, and especially for this week. The other piece having to do with those rivers I talked about, the blue rivers, they're energetic rivers, and they contain this enormous vibration of peace, of not needing to worry that everything is broken or everything is falling apart. What if everything is falling apart so that it can come back together in a way that is perhaps simpler, perhaps more true to what and who you really want to be, what really resonates for you at this time in your life. The falling apart can be really a potent way to bring everything back together by your choosing, not because of other people and circumstances necessarily. So a part of that, those rivers that I was seeing, is to also think about, when it comes to personal responsibility, you are like a pebble that is thrown into this beautiful, calm pond, and those ripples of your energy flow out, out, out. Okay, they glide out to more people than you realize. And here we go with release. I'm about to sneeze. Maybe it's gonna. This stuff is always meaningful when it comes up. Whether my throat locks up, I sneeze, I start getting stuffy, because I'll start the reading and be just fine. This really needs to be released. This idea of, we have a ripple effect. And it is part of your personal responsibility. Just like I always say, watch your shop. Watch you as if you're a unique boutique. You are responsible for that vibe that you're putting out into the world. And am I saying that you have to wear rose-colored glasses and be Sally Sunshine every day? Absolutely not. But to take responsibility for what you're picking up on, to just be aware of it. And then if it is a bad day and maybe those ripples aren't filled with sunshine, to be aware and not fly off the handle and create ripples that could potentially drown others. We have to own our own experience. And also, the ripples can almost become inverted, is what I'm being shown. They can become inverted when we talk about emotional factors such as fear, worry, and anxiety. Those go in the reverse order, and in the end, you drown yourself and you bring other people down with you. And so be aware. And I'm really putting this as personal responsibility. We have to step up to the plate on this and own our energy and own where we want to bring that energy to, what we want to focus on, and understand it has a ripple effect. Just like the rivers of energy I saw, we are all interconnected. And you can see when somebody comes into your office environment and they're really in a downward space and everything is very negative. If you're at all kind of in a wonky, wobbly place, don't you notice it can be easy to just get on that train, because it's like the path of least resistance somehow. Those ripples overtake and they bring you into that space too. Again, personal responsibility. They're having a tough day, but it's my job it's all of our jobs. I'm saying this from your perspective. For all of us, I'm not in that place. That's not my story today. That's not where my energy is. So I'm going to take the responsibility to hold my energy where it feels best and right for me. And I'm going to always keep trying to look up to that blue sky and see that I have choices. I have options. I have ways of thinking about whatever is going on, that maybe everything is on target. It's working according to plan. Things are working out for me, even when they're falling apart, because they're going to come together in a way that is meaningful and important for this transition time in my life. Okay, that's my big long intro for this. So with that said, we're looking at these blue rivers of energy for you, bringing a huge sense of like a huge, it's a vibration, and it's very deep. And it's about being peaceful, finding your stability in your own peace. When you see all of this going around, when you see everything in the external world, and people want to come at you and they want to involve you in their drama, what brings you peace? You have to look within for that. So that's what these messages are about. So first up, and believe me, you can pick more than one card if you wish. Some people watch this entire reading and there's pieces of these different cards that speak to them. So also each card will have a crystal partner as well. So the first option, for those of you that picked this card, this is from the Radiant Rider Waite deck. And you have the Hermit. Oh, really? A punctuation mark. A big old exclamation point on going within. Your things are going on in your world that are not like they were. It can feel a little disorienting. It can knock you off balance. When I see the Hermit, and this is a major arcana card in the Tarot, so it's one of the stops that the Fool, that beginning card in the major arcana, the Fool goes through all these steps. It's like a journey. And the Hermit is the time when you look within and it's your inner illumination. And you have to feel into for yourself, where do I go from here? Okay, what is next for me? Because it's like the next step, or whatever the next chapter is, has not yet revealed itself. And believe me, those times can cause their own level of anxiety and worry and kind of just an overall uneasiness. And that's when I tend to see the Hermit show up in card readings, is when, because the Hermit is like that wise elder. And I think it was last week's reading maybe, or the week before, when I talked about the wise elder. It's a very settled energy, and it waits for that next chapter to show up, and it trusts that that next step is going to reveal itself, because there is, with the Hermit, the lantern is important here. It's this inner illumination that if we truly trust in our journey, like we all are the Fool on the journey of life. That's what's magical about the Tarot. All of those cards are applicable to all of us. We don't miss a single step out of that journey of the major arcana. And so this Hermit one is seeing that trust in the path, knowing that the way will be lit for you, that lantern is there. It is your soul essence. It is your team, as I sometimes like to call our spiritual side, the bigger part of who we are. It will be revealed, but you can't push it with the Hermit. The Hermit is about taking time to ponder, taking time to notice. This is an important point. Notice what gets your attention. Notice the people who contact you, or the books or videos. It could be anything. But just notice what comes into your awareness, and see if there tends to be a tide. Is there a topic that just keeps coming up? because I feel like the ground is kind of shifting under you and you're ready to move on to that next step, but you just don't know what it is. And again, this week is about the energy of 4. Finding stability even though things are shifting and shaking and changing. You got to find the stability, and the Hermit offers that to you this week. Okay, and your crystal that goes with this is my little ammonite. So this is not like groundbreaking, I don't feel. This energy that with the Hermit is not like groundbreaking, but it feels like a mini cycle, so to speak, is completing. And both of my ammonites are known as karma, but I have a really big one, and then I have this little guy who's got all this rainbow energy that's so beautiful. And so the name of they're both named Karma. They're both from the fire team of all my crystals. So it's like a new passion coming forward, but something, it's kind of just a mini cycle in your life is kind of closing off, you know? And what else did I write? The past comes around again for new revelations, the finishing up of a cycle. So I feel like whatever you feel is finishing up in your life. First of all, it's really healthy, and the Hermit suggests this. It's really good to look back at all that was gained as a result of that cycle that you feel it might be finishing up. There was karma involved, and you know, I'm not really I don't talk a lot about karma, but when the ammonite comes up, I'm like, yep, there's something to be worked out here. There's a dynamic that has been worked out, and I feel like that cycle is now complete. But really think about the gifts that you gained from the completion of that cycle, and some element from whatever that cycle was about, okay, whatever is completing or has just completed, there's some element of that that is going to offer the next step, that is going to be part of what is illuminated on the path ahead. But because we've got the Hermit energy and with karma, I mean, the energy just naturally, look at this piece, the energy just naturally goes around. Just like us, we naturally evolve and expand as we go through life. And so this isn't a time to push. It isn't a time to say, I gotta figure this out. It isn't a time to say, hey, I need an answer and I need it now. It's a time to reflect on what has been, and with a very directed focus on the gifts that were gained from whatever has completed. And somehow, something out of that journey, that part of the journey, is going to come back around, and you're going to find it even more enjoyable this time. That's what I'm getting. But allow it to shine its way into your life. Don't push it. Don't second guess it. Don't sit down and do like a pros and cons and push to send emails or to make phone calls. It's like it just comes to you. Again, look at the ammonite here. It all winds around. We evolve whether we want to or not. It all comes around, like people say, life comes full circle. That's very much what the ammonite is about. So something karmically has been learned from this cycle that's completed, and now you're moving on to the trust that the path will be illuminated, whatever is next. And just trust that. You're in very good hands with the Hermit. And part of that too is to look at, as I was saying in the intro, notice your reactions to things. Notice the peaks and valleys. Be responsible for your energy ripple. And also that you don't need to get pulled into other people's energy ripple. Your job is to watch your own and to be authentic to it, whatever that may be, but to not pull others down in the process. Okay? That felt very passionate. that particular message. Okay, the second card up is from the Flower Therapy deck. For some reason, I'm wanting to lead with your crystal. I don't know why, but it's from my water team. It's this little piece of moonstone. Someday I'm going to find a bigger piece of moonstone. This is very sort of opaque and gentle energy from my water team, so it has to do with emotional and intuitive matters. And these were the notes that I wrote down when I tapped in with this little guy for your message. Its name is Luciana. And the big themes that were coming through is something surfacing, a lucidness and flexibility, but particularly something surfacing. So much with this crystal has to do with things coming up to the surface, but in a really gentle fashion. Not like, something being, what I'm being given here is something being lifted out of the ocean with such force that it causes actually a crater to form on the ocean's floor, because the force and all that pressure brings part of the ocean floor up with it and then muddies all the waters around it. And it's like it disrupts all of life. The beauty of this piece, the message of it, is that maybe something emotionally and or intuitively is coming up to the surface very slowly. The way you're going to know, again, please watch your peaks and valleys, like I said in the intro message. Watch how you respond in either a much more peaceful fashion, a much more loving approach, or where you kind of fly off the handle. You kind of lose your shit. You can't keep it together. You kind of blow off steam at somebody or something. You have no patience with your pets. These are all just, you got to start noticing your own emotional, particularly for you with this piece, your own emotional behavior. And to say, I have a choice here. Yes, maybe I've had a bad day, but I have to understand that I ripple out into my world. I affect my family members, my pets, my co-workers, my extended family, friends, and who knows how many other people you affect. Your energy field is expansive, and that's how we affect one another. These ripples are much bigger than we realize. And whether or not you know this or not, part of the 2020 energy is that our energy fields are not only becoming more potent in their vibration in any direction you choose, but also they're becoming a little bit more resilient while growing in size, because we're wanting to connect more. This is the age of Aquarius, making connections with our fellow humans in particular. Big humanitarian kinds of concepts coming up. So in order to do that, the literal human energy field is starting to grow. And that can also be something to keep in mind why you might feel triggered. Notice if you've been with other people or a certain person or what have you, and you're doing great, but then you get home and all hell breaks loose, or you're just like totally off your rocker about something. In any direction, like I'm talking these peaks and valleys, big changes. You've allowed yourself to be affected by that ripple. And so I'm feeling this because, again, flexibility is another key term here. Just notice and say to yourself, and these are life-changing words if you really take this in, I always have a choice. There are always options for how you respond to something, for how you take in how somebody gives something to you. Your choice, your choice. But I feel like it's kind of an intuitive awareness is almost what I feel with this piece, is slowly rising to the surface where you start to see, oh, I'm really being affected by this because I'm doing that, or I'm focusing my attention in this way, or I'm getting wound into somebody else's drama, and this is what it's causing me to then do. I'm out of my responsibility at that point. I have given up my sovereignty. I've given up my job as the CEO of You Inc., of my own shop. Any way you want to look at this, it's your responsibility. Question it. Okay? So the crystal energy wanted to come first. And then this is the beautiful pink rose. Let your inner beauty shine. This is about coming back to you. The core message here is come back to you. I'm actually hearing that in your message. Coming back home. Come on back home, as my mother-in-law always used to say. Well, back home at the ranch, when somebody would get off topic on a conversation, she'd say, well, back home at the ranch, she'd bring it back around to what we were discussing. And I feel that's a good little reminder mantra for you. Well, back home at the ranch, you just gotta come on back. Come on back. Because I'm telling you, these ripples are going to get more intense as we go through the year. And that is nothing that you need to worry about or fret about. Remember, this week is about the number 4. You need to find your own stability. That is your job. You need to watch your own energy, your own field. You literally have an energy field, and it's growing, and it's getting more intense. And so notice, where is my attention focused? Am I so dragged into their drama that my life starts coming apart? Or do I have so much going on in my own life that I'm splintering myself up to give to other people because I don't want to pay attention to my own life? This can be an outward. You got to look at your energy going outward and the energy going inward. And you are responsible for that. And make the key here with let your inner beauty shine is you want to go towards a place of softness with yourself. You do not want to be hard-edged, at least for this week. Again, we're talking about stability this week. You want to go soft. You want to go gentle. And you want to come on back to the ranch, back home at the ranch. Just keep saying that to yourself. It's a really, little things like that are very powerful. They're kind of like a little mantra that just can remind you of this pink rose. I want you to say, whatever it is, back home at the beach. Maybe that feels better. It's whatever, and whatever feels right, and it's this soft, gentle energy of the pink rose. I want to see yourself embedded in the middle of that rose, and all of the petals represent the various choices that you have for how you choose to think about and feel about and act about things going on in your life. And the petals also, what I'm getting is they offer protection of some sort if you allow it, if you are focused in that direction of not protecting yourself against other people and their drama or whatever's going on with them, but it's more protection of your gentle heart. You're just protecting your own softness because it's hard to let our softness be seen even to ourselves. You're simply protecting something that is perhaps not in a place where it really wants to go all vulnerable, but that's what I'm feeling is this softness is beckoning you. Okay, and that's this piece of moonstone is slowly, it brings things up ever so gently and softly. It isn't that sucking motion like I mentioned, like bringing something up from the ocean and you just totally disrupt the whole of the inside of you, your whole stability. It isn't that. It's gentle and it's soft. And these also can result in changes that are very minimal. They're one step at a time. And I've got this day, and I think I'm going to try this out today. It's some small thing. And it might be when you're listening to a conversation and you notice there's big energy swirling and you're like, that back home at the ranch, back home at the ranch. I can almost see you saying this. Back home at the ranch, and you see this other person. The ranch is pretty powerful because that swirling energy is like a tornado coming towards you. I'm not saying this to incite fear, anxiety, worry. I'm saying it because you are strong as the ranch. You have ownership of that. And so what do? You disrupt the flow of the energy. You redirect the conversation. Or you say something maybe quite blunt. You know, you just stop the energy. It's like you put this, I don't really want to say a wall. It's not a wall because there's softness involved for you. But it's more a disruptor. It's as if you're putting this huge fan out and you're almost moving the energy just a little bit back from you. Just to say, hey, I got my ranch over here and you can keep doing that. But if you're going to be here with me, here's what I'm comfortable talking about. Here's what I'm comfortable emoting about. Even if somebody is really upset about something, you still can find ways to redirect that are very efficient and effective and loving for that other person, but also you. I feel like you forget about you. I feel like you forget about the fact that you got the ranch, you know, that you've got your own energy field, your ripples that you have to maintain. And it's too easily influenced by other people because you're such a loving, beautifully giving person. But I feel this softness of the pink rose is really for you this week to start experimenting with. Okay, and as you do that, this idea about your inner beauty shining is going to become just radiant, absolutely radiant. And people then, you know, remember what I said about ripples, the ripples of energy, a sense of peacefulness. That naturally emanates. Remember, you're never without your energy field. And it works like a radio tower. It sends that out. And so those people that are like a tornado, they don't even come anywhere near you because they're like, oh my God, she's just going to blow sunshine up my behind. And I don't want any of that. You know, like they just steer clear of you because you've got this radiance going. And that only attracts radiance. Okay? But you are in control of that. You are in control of your own energy field and how you choose to use it. Okay. All right, the third card, the final card, is from the Secrets from the Mystic Grove deck. I'm just amazed how often now this deck comes up. Probably has something to do with as a messenger. I really like this deck a lot. And you have number 10, Imagination, and she's holding a blue book. And remember, we were talking about blue waves of energy in the intro to this. Peace-FULL-ness. She's got the book on it. You've got the book on peace. Peace-FULL-ness within you. This ability to go there. Now, this is the card number 10, so that reduces to 1 in numerology. This is a new start for you. This is a new beginning. The other words on the card are conjure, dreams, and create. What I'm feeling is it's almost like you're going beyond your own energy field, because so much of what I've talked about with this reading has to do with our energy field and the fact that it's pulsing like never before in any direction of our choosing. We can go up or down with that. But also, I feel with this, it's like you're going beyond. It's like you're calling on your umbilical cord to that blue sky self part of you, that more expansive part of you. There is a very strong umbilical cord that I'm feeling for you, that is connected and feeding you with ideas. And I want to make this, I don't want you to get caught on the word dreams, because some people, you know, and I'm a Pisces, so I love I love daydreaming and, you know, thinking about the magic of life and things of that sort. And I realize not everybody's like that. And for some reason, that's the reaction I'm having for you who chose this card. Like, yeah, Kat, they're not gonna relate to that. I don't want it to be about dreaming or even the word imagination. I want you to see that you have more potential. Because words like I talked about, personal responsibility for your energy field and for the ripples you put out into the world, the word that really comes up instead of imagination, because again, think about, she's got the book in her hands. She's well read. She knows this land of peace. She doesn't always explore it maybe like she should, or employ it in a way that it would be helpful to her. But the thing is I think you've got more capability than you're giving yourself credit for or the room to expand to. Because I feel like you're going, it's purposeful to go out of your energy field and to really look at like bigger rhythms going on. And this, it's easier now, to be honest, to see when you watch the news. And I mean, I have to say, I don't watch the news. It's on in our house, and I'm often plugged in listening to somebody's video that is inspiring to me. But even with, things that happen in the work setting, or things you watch your own personal family going through, there are these big themes playing out, and to just begin, that's when you're like going beyond your own, what's going on with me. You're tapping into a broader ecosystem is the word I'm getting, a broader vibration system of these bigger cycles that are playing out. And I just feel I feel the sense of peace when you allow yourself to do that. And the sense, what I'm getting for words is you're capable. And I very much want to sit up straight and to say you are very capable. You've got the book on peace, and now is time for you to employ it. Now is time for you to straighten up and do it. And pay attention to, yeah, that makes sense that this is going on because I see this broader theme of what is happening. Just, it takes awareness. Be aware. Look at the broader cycle of what's happening in your workplace. What is happening with your friends and your interaction with them? Perhaps you have children that are the same age. And look at what are those dynamics that are playing out. What are the dynamics playing out in your own family? There's something highly settling about this because you realize, I believe, that there's all divine purpose to it, that things are simply cycling around, just like your washing machine goes through these necessary cycles. And remember, you can pick the setting. So sometimes cycles go really, really quick, right? It's like boom, boom, boom. You could even have it done, a whole cycle could play itself out within an hour, or other ones might take years, decades to play themselves out. That's what's such a trip about the human experience. So your crystal partner that wants to come forward is this beautiful piece of selenite that was gifted to me by one of my clients. And this is from my Earth team. So this is about life on Earth. And what I feel in combination with this message that's just come through, selenite is a cleanser. Okay? And you are the cleanser, my friend. You hold the book on peace. You know, people have a lot to learn from you. So much to learn from you. And so the other messages, besides you being the cleanser, is slicing through smog and your purest base of the self. This is your purity showing through, okay? It's the potential for, you know, this week, but it's really pointing to an ongoing stability that you can look to as you go through the weeks of this year in particular. This is an ongoing stability that you can build. Understand that you can transmute situations that you walk into, that you can see through the smog. When people are, they're kvetching about some particular thing, this can run rampant in a workplace. Oh boy, can it be brutal. And somehow, remember, you've got the book of peace. And there's a new beginning offered here for you. That's the number 1 of this card. It's being able to choose that peace, the book of peace. Choosing that more often because you've got this energy on board. You've got this cleanser. You can see through the smog. There is a purity that you have gained as a result of the things that you've been through. Things are really starting to become clear. Welcome to 2020. This is going to happen for everybody in one form or another. But you, my friend, are ahead of the curve. That's what I really feel. You have a clarity on board that is so needed. You actually, I feel like your stability is in a pretty good place. Even if you have some off times, off days, off moments, we are human. And remember, we've got ripples that we're giving out and that we're receiving all the time. If we were perfect, as one of my favorite astrologers says, we'd have wings on our back. So it isn't about perfection, but it's about the fact, how fast can I find my steady? How can I dig out that book of peace that she's got in her hands? How do I dig that out and look up the magic formula for where is peace within this situation? And every time you do that through your example, oh my gosh, do you cut through the smog for people? You allow them to see their way to their own blue sky. Everybody's got the choice, and here she is with a blue sky book. That is you. Oh my God, it is you. You know, there's a clarity here. And I'm not saying that this is easy. This hasn't been an easy journey, and it's not going to continue to be. But you have something powerful to give through your example. So I feel like the call to really, bring awareness to the stability that you have gained and that you have easy access to. Because you've got this umbilical cord in place, it's outside of your human energy field. That's all I can see. It's like a direct line to the cosmos. It's like, yep, and I see that little dirt devil down there, and I'm not getting into that shitstorm. That isn't my storm, and I can watch that play out, and I can have a lot of compassion for the people or the departments or the organizations involved, but that ain't my gig. And you cut through the smog because you're watching your own shop and you're being a steady, smog-free presence for other people. And don't be surprised if other people come to you and want you to try to offer them a smog-free vision, because it's like you've got these goggles on that see right through to something that feels more like truth, and it feels more like peace. It's just peace. We don't have to work it all out. It doesn't all have to be perfect. That's part of human life. But I feel like that's part of your power that you understand. And when we know that, we have stability. We have stability because we can see through all that and say, yep, and I can see that they don't know it, but they're exuding worry and anxiety and fear, and I reject that. That is not my experience. That will not be true for me. I choose a different way. And that's the essence of the imagination card. It's choosing a different way. And it might feel outlandish, actually. And this is what's hard, because you're a trailblazer. You're really getting out there ahead of the curve, but it's needed right now because people are very unsettled. It is tectonic plates shifting big time in 2020. So thank you for what you're doing here, and you will continue to grow and prosper in a way that is meaningful. It's peace. It's inner peace in times that are anything but peaceful. There is always the choice of peace. And I feel like you can easily access that if you bring your awareness to it and you choose it over and over again. Okay? There we are, everybody. Great to connect with all of you. I love your energy is what makes these readings possible. It's the connection from all of you that brings this through, and I learn so much, and I'm so grateful for that. So thank you, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye for now.